We tend to picture the loss of childhood as a sudden, explosive event, a clear dividing line between being a kid and the real world. But developmental psychology paints a different picture. Some children outgrow their youth quietly. No one actually tells them they're becoming an adult. They just look around one day, realize someone has to be responsible, and decide it might as well be them. Psychologists call this parentification. It happens when a child is forced to manage heavy adult emotions or logistics long before they're developmentally ready. To survive that kind of pressure, the developing brain rewires itself. It actively suppresses the child's own personal needs, dialing down the desire to play, and instead ramping up intense vigilance and problem-solving to handle the external burden. They learn how to stay calm and project maturity to the adults around them, internalizing the lesson that their own feelings must take a back seat to the needs of others. This early strength developed as a strict survival mechanism, rewriting the developmental timeline to prioritize endurance over exploration. Fast forward a decade or two, those same kids develop what researchers call early self-reliance or survival independence. They stop asking for help entirely. They develop guarded empathy. They can scan a room, sense slight shifts in mood, anticipate crises, and project an aura of total competence. To the outside world, they appear perfectly composed, but that hyper-competence hides an internal cost, known in psychology as split maturity. Because emotional development was rushed, a person's logical and professional capacities often outpace their emotional fulfillment. They can be wise and responsible, yet secretly harbor feelings of deep confusion or guilt inside. Premature independence forged them into highly capable adults, but it completely stripped them of the developmental time required to learn how to safely rely on other people. This leads to a debilitating paradox for the parentified adult, the experience of uneasy rest. This graph plots chronic stress adaptation. In volatile childhoods, calm flat lines meant impending crisis. The brain associated quiet with danger. Thus, the nervous system sets a new, higher baseline of alertness. It stays locked in an elevated state, preventing rest. This hypervigilant biology feeds directly into a deep emotional block, guilt for needing. It's the ingrained belief that simply possessing personal needs places an unfair burden on someone else. In daily life, this looks like apologizing repeatedly just for wanting basic support. Receiving care feels entirely foreign and profoundly uncomfortable. For these adults, constant busyness acts as a physiological shield, guarding against the terrifying vulnerability of being cared for. If you recognize these patterns in yourself, the psychological consensus is clear. You are operating a nervous system that adapted perfectly to an environment you no longer live in. Healing involves the active, conscious process of outgrowing childhood armor that no longer serves a purpose. The first step is reframing guilt. It requires logically acknowledging that receiving care is a normal biological function, not a penalty you inflict on the people around you. The second step is microdosing vulnerability. You must deliberately practice asking for minor amounts of help, like a small favor or an extra minute of time, without apologizing for it. The third step is redefining rest. You train the nervous system by intentionally sitting in quiet moments, consciously reminding your brain that the other shoe is not about to drop. Letting go of this hyperindependence allows for a long overdue balance between caring for others and receiving care in return. You learned responsibility before safety, and you carried an unfair weight. Healing is simply giving yourself permission to finally set it down.